Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar, E-Invoicing from Compliance to AP Automation. Just wanted to start out and state that the webinar will be recorded, also for the ones that was not able to attend today. And then, without further ado, I will share my screen, and then we'll jump right to it. Good. E-invoicing from compliance to AP automation. Today, you'll meet me. I'm the director of Makira. I'll do a short introduction to where e-invoicing fits into what Makira does. And then with me, I have Ove, who is a product owner. And he will actually use some great examples from customers, and we'll also dig into the details about what we do in order to ensure that our customers stays compliant with all these e-invoicing requirements that are already here, and also there's a lot more coming. The agenda of today is that I'll do this short introduction, and Ove will, as mentioned, go through how to stay compliant, have a scalable and an automated solution when it comes to e-invoices. We'll do some look at some real life examples. We'll look at e-invoicing architecture, and then we'll wrap up this half an hour with looking at what we went through and the Q&A. I'll start with this high-level introduction. So a high-level introduction about what Makira is, and then afterwards we'll zoom into where e-invoices is in the Makira suite.
Every day, businesses handle a constant flow of documents, from orders to invoices, AP to HR, all essential to keeping operations running smoothly. Yet these tasks often drain time and resources, slowing down progress and creating inefficiencies.
Now, imagine that document management stopped being a bottleneck and started driving growth and value creation instead.
Sounds appealing? Well, meet Makira, the AI-powered document management solution designed to automate, accelerate, and advance your workflows, significantly reducing manual handling of repetitive tasks. Makira streamlines workflows across departments and borders, leveraging smart automation from document creation, approvement, and archiving for any document and ERP system. So, isn't it about time to eliminate input errors and create a scalable foundation for future growth?
About time to say bye repetition and hello getting stuff done.
Indeed it is. And the way that we can ensure getting stuff done is by utilizing some of the solutions that Makira has to offer. We start from the very top. We have these various business processes that we create solutions for in order to automate the end-to-end processes when it comes to business document. And the way that we then automate all the individual process steps is that we have grouped various IPs that we have created into these boxes that represents the different document phases. So it varies a bit depending on what document type, what kind of document phase that the document needs to pass through. But let's just use the invoice example also because we are focusing on e-invoicing today. Then it needs to pass through all of the phases. You need to receive it, create it, approve it, and archive it. And also it's nice to actually be able to see some reports and also have an AI body that you can ask questions when it comes to how do I ensure that as many of documents as possible get auto-posted, as an example. I'll not spend too much time on this because I know what you came for is e-invoicing. So let's just zoom right in at e-invoicing, which is a part of the Makira receive step. So that is about getting the documents created as efficient as possible. We cover PDFs with Makira Capture, and we cover e-invoicing with Makira e-invoicing. Ove, then I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, thank you. And what I want to state is, sorry, I need to flip this. I hope you see my screen nicely. So, as Jonas presented, I've been working within the e-invoice for quite a number of years, and I can see from the participants list that I've met also quite some of you. The idea today is to explain why is it so important to stay compliant, scalable, and automated, like our sentence. There's a new initiative, or rather new, that's called VIDA. That's VAT in the digital age. And it means that there's a European Union reform that states we should be able to harmonize and speed up the way we do VAT reporting. And in order to speed up the VAT reporting, it's very crucial to speed up the invoicing process as well. And how can we do that? Well, first of all, we need some more aligned ways of dealing across borders, and we need unified platforms in order to speed up these processes. And this will, as an end result, hopefully help European Union to have less VAT fraud losses. That's the higher intention. And when it comes into the Makira, how can we then assist? Well, we are looking into these different ways of working. And while VIDA is, how can you say, the EU highway rules set up the global highways, or the European highways, sorry, then there are still some countries who want and stick to having national systems. So we can say these national systems are like the local roads, and we must be able to connect the local roads and the EU highways. And the local road examples are Italy having the Fattura PA, it's Poland having rules for the CEF invoices, KSEF setup, and it's also France coming in within this year that has more requirements than can be handled on the EU highway rules. So what do we do in order to move ahead? Well, since one of the most critical things to get almost real-time digital reporting requirements fulfilled is for the VAT parts is that the e-invoices are rolling with very high pace. And if we look at the key points from some of the decisions is that almost all business-to-business transactions will be e-invoices from July 2030. So that's in like 4 years' time from now. This means invoices must be structured, that machine readable, and that tax authorities are kept in between as well. So structured and machine readable, that means XML files as a standard point, but hybrid invoices, so the combination of PDFs with embedded XML, they are explicitly acceptable as long as these XML files embedded will follow the standard. And yeah, no rule without exception. So some countries are running faster than the time schedules, and other countries are waiting for the EU deadlines. But generally, it's really time to get rolling in high speed. So when it comes to e-invoices, it will be the default, meaning XML files. XML files must be issued and transmitted in the XML format and passed from the sender to the receiver following the new standards. And the main standards of the XML files, as we see it, is the Peppol BIS Billing 3.0, it's X-Rechnung, it's cross-industry invoice. And as mentioned, there will be a period of time where these There will, of course, be a long period where the unstructured formats like the classic PDFs will still be around, also in the European area. And of course, for the global area, they will continue in many years. But looking into the future, the unstructured, the classic PDFs will no longer be acceptable in the EU. But for a number of years, the hybrid invoices will continue. And this means a combination of a PDF and a structured XML. So what we have also been working on the last few years is to start supporting these hybrid invoices for a period of time. And they can be really painful from a technical perspective, because it's a new world. So I would have hoped that it was either PDF or real XML only. But hybrid invoices is a PDF. So from an end user perspective, you might not even realize, but you receive a PDF, and you can, with most of the PDF viewers, you can actually see that there are embedded XML files, and then you can open the XML file. And what we do is we process the XML file inside the PDF. And the purpose of doing that is when we open the XML file, there can even be further PDF files embedded. So cases you receive a PDF file, you see that there's an XML file inside it, and all of a sudden you can explode to 8 or 10 further PDF specifications inside this XML. And you can only get these additional PDFs extracted if you open the XML file and process the XML file. So that's, of course, why we have to do this and why we're doing it in some of the customer setups. But it's not it does require a lot of technical, how can you say, exception handlings, because not all embedded XMLs are following global invoice standards. Some suppliers have an idea of inventing their own XML structures and embed it into a PDF for some minor, for agreements between few parties. And these agreements between few parties doesn't follow the international standards, so that's why they end being painful for us. But that's just to check that we are awake in the exception handlings. So moving ahead, I would like to present a real life example, because one thing is legislation and dreams and wishes, but another thing is how can we actually operate this in the daily life. So Søstrene Grene, it's a big Danish retail company, actually bigger than most are aware. They are in more than 15 countries, I think. And they are running stores, selling a lot of creative stuff for creative people, doing nice indoor decorations. So they are running a SAP private cloud, and it's a greenfield implementation done within the last few years. And on the right-hand side in this drawing, you see that is actually their private cloud SAP system. And on the private cloud system, we run a Makira approved workflow. So this is the workflow. This is the ERP platform where the employees are connected. Then how do we integrate with the inbound invoices? Well, we focus sending inbound invoices using Makira E-Invoice Cloud, powered by Jubini engine. And the end result is that we connect to the Nemhandel authorities in Denmark. We have also connected the Peppol network for Denmark, but because Denmark was one of the first movers in these e-invoice setups, then Nemhandel has been around for, I think, 2 decades. So it means Denmark as a country are moving towards Peppol within the coming years. So for a period of time, both formats or both interfaces must be supported if you want to receive invoices from all suppliers as e-invoices. For Belgium, by legislation, it was mandatory to send the invoices in Belgium using the Peppol setup. So Peppol is both an infrastructure for exchanging documents, but there's also a file format called Peppol BIS Billing. So in this drawing, Peppol is the interface or the electronic post office exchanging the documents. For Germany, we support hybrid invoices. So of course, the majority is still received as classic P invoices running our capture software. But when capture identifies a hybrid invoice, it will actually pass the XML file to be processed, and end result being it ends in the ERP platform. When it comes to Italy, Poland, and France, we are not running the highways. Highway is European highway is the Peppol setup. But Poland, Italy, and France are running the Factura PA, the CEF portal, and the Factura X, and more interesting formats or variants to come in France from September. And these we connect using the SAP DRC, the Document Reporting and Compliance setup. So we evaluate actually from country to country how we recommend the customer to be connected. And this is both evaluation of technical architecture as well as pricing issues, because the reporting and compliance component can do a lot for both inbound and outbound invoices, as well as do VAT reporting. But a retail customer like this has all their sales in the stores, meaning point of sales is paying by credit cards or by cash in the stores. And that means there's not a lot of outbound invoices in this setup. So flipping the figure to another real-life example, the next is also a big retail customer. It's Jysk. They're selling bed linen. They are represented in 30 countries, more than 30 countries actually, and they operate more than 3,000 stores spread over these countries. And it's an SAP on-premise system. And let's just face it, it's a very matured SAP setup, because you can imagine they've been running more than 20 years. They are around in a lot of countries, so very matured SAP setup. They're also running the Makira Approve solution, so inside the ERP system. And this setup is integrated multiple ways. So let me start bottom up on this figure, because of the 20 years maturity, then there's a lot of value-added network services. So mainly for the Scandinavian countries, so Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland have been operating with e-invoices for many years. And there's a lot of vendors also implemented using EDI, so peer-to-peer connections. And things are operated on their internal cloud process integration platform. But within the recent years, we start now on the top. Within the recent years, new countries for e-invoices, and this is both inbound and outbound, they are operated from or interfaced with SAP DRC, so Document Reporting and Compliance Cockpit. And at Jysk, there's a lot of outbound invoices. Not everything is invoiced from paying by card in the stores, but also sent outbound invoices. And that means the DRC platform is used for inbound as well as outbound invoices. Having said that, either due to the time when the country was onboarded, or other reasons, then some national portals are connected directly. So let's say Turkey was implemented before it was really ready on DRC platform, and there are other places where it has been running with direct connections to national portals before the SAP DRC. So that's what we mean with national portals and third-party connectors. So actually connecting different ways in order to achieve that there's always a movement going on. And what we also see now is, you can imagine that with some of the EDI setups that has been running for maybe 10, 15 years, then a supplier in such a country could all of a sudden be forced to start sending using either national portals or be more effective using the DRC in order to achieve the country-specific VAT reporting requirements. So that means old EDI setups all of a sudden start shifting into other channels. Next figure is also a customer example. It's an anonymous customer in this case. We have on the right-hand side, again, the ERP platform. They run an SAP on-premise system with the Makira approved workflow, but they also run multiple non-ERP platforms due to their rapid growth and buying up a lot of other companies. So we are integrating them with the Makira e-invoice cloud powered by Jubini because this is actually a component that are not SAP specific. So that means we can integrate different ways. And when it comes to countries supported, it's again fetching documents from different country portals or interfaces like the Nemhandle and the Peppol. So simply integrating both inbound and outbound with a cloud-based middle layer. So these are examples of different customer designs. So that's also what leads into the next drawing and say, okay, we can, on the right-hand side, we have multiple ERP systems. Our preferred or our majority is, of course, SAP, private cloud, public cloud, as well as classic on-premise systems. The cloud middle layer we offer is depending on what suits the customer best. So it could be our powered by Jubini, our internal entity suite, but it could also be connecting to the SAP document reporting compliance or using third-party connectors because we have a lot of partners all over the world. And that leads us into being able to connect to multiple country setups, not only interfaces like Peppol and Nemhandle as examples. I'm sorry for mentioning Nemhandle. I know there's a lot of international customers listening, but Peppol is more European. So this means, just added to header titles, your customer core ERP system is one thing. We want to keep this as stable as possible. So the Makira e-invoice part is making it more transparent what takes place outside, so you keep your core clean. And that's also one of the takeaways when looking ahead for the e-invoice architecture. Plan your journey for countries in the European community as a starting point. There's a link in this presentation that gives you a very nice overview from all the EU countries. And if you're SAP customer, of course, pay attention to the document reporting and compliance, the cockpit. And then once you have these decisions, they are crucial. Then even if you have SAP DRC, it still requires a solution like Makira to do inbound automation, because all the Peppol and the integration or the mapping, the interfacing will only bring the documents into your ERP system, but Makira will actually automate the creation of an invoice so you can read it and push it to the workflow. So vendors and countries does not change all overnight. That's why it's important to support both the hybrids, the classic PDFs, and the XMLs, because we still handle and see formats that expired 5-10 years ago, but because it's robust and running at some customers, then it's accepted at those installations that they continue running because it's effective. So that's what I mean with the status. It doesn't change overnight, but when there's legal requirement, it changes faster. So choose your solutions that combine all your needs, the inbound, the outbound, and the reporting. And to respect the time, I'll pass on to Jonas again.
Thank you, Uwe. Let's zoom out again. So this was Makira e-invoice, part of the receive area. And then I'll just very briefly just touch upon some of the AI agents that we have introduced in Makira Create in order to make use of all that great data that is coming in either from PDF invoices or from e-invoices, and use that as a foundation in order to be able to automate even more of the invoice process. So if I go to the next slide, I'll just give you an overview of one of these AI agents. It's the Enrich AI, and that one does invoice account assignment automation for non-PO invoices. I'll also show one for PO invoices. I know that's, of course, a major focus area, but this one can automatically fill account assignment costs, send to request a VAT code, also checks for missing PO, and we see around, actually more than 90% accuracy for some customers, but around these 90%, only leaving less than 10% of manual work with respect to invoice coding. I'll not dig into the details of how it works, except saying that it learns from data. Data is pretty much experience, so it learned from how invoice coding has been done within the ERP system for the past, it can be 3 or 5 years, depending on what we configure it to. So it pretty much just learns from AP what they have been doing and also the organization, and can then kind of replicate that in the models that it uses. The other one is indeed for PO line item matching. So that's for improving line item matching. Makira already has a big rule set that can be used in order to do PO line item matching. But when it comes to the description, it can be a bit challenging to do with only rules. So this AI agent have been introduced in order to do what is called semantic search and better understand the meaning of the line item description. Just as we as a human can better understand what the meaning is and doesn't necessarily need to see a complete like one-to-one description in order to understand that it's the same material that we mean. Yeah, that was the AI agents. Also, the next steps, if you want to learn more, you could download an ebook. I've been told that this slide deck will be shared with all of you. So there's a link to the ebook that you can download in order to learn more about e-invoicing. Of course, you could also reach out to us if you want to speak to Uwe or some of the others in my team in order to become even more familiar with what to do in order to stay compliant and to have a solution that ensures high level of automation. And of course, we would appreciate if you would sign up to our newsletter so we can also ensure that you stay updated on the new things that are coming from Makira. I think that was also the wrap up. So it leaves us with 1 minute for questions, if there are any.
Yeah, so there's some questions in the chat. There's one from Mukta saying, from an enterprise architecture perspective, does Makira then effectively replace systems like Basware, Ariba, invoice scanning solutions for countries where e-invoicing is mandated? And the feedback is yes, Makira can be set up to support different input channels depending on customer needs. So yes, we can replace existing scanning solutions from Basware as an example, simply by the capture software we have, and the capture software will process all classic PDFs. It will send the hybrid invoices into an XML channel, and we will also connect the XML, the e-invoice channels, for those countries who will be that will be relevant. And yes, so for Ariba is many things. Of course, it's also a purchasing portal running outside SAP. So for Ariba solutions, I think we need some more dialogue how much you want to replace. But yes, we also have integrations running with Ariba where we process the invoices that are shipped into Ariba, but they're really just passed on to SAP as the backend core system. And then all the workflows are running in the backend SAP system instead of the Makira platform.
Thanks, Ove.
Yeah.
Our time is up. Thank you so much for joining. And as already mentioned, the slide deck with links will be provided. Have a good day.